Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, I'm your host, Suri Smith. Do write to us at thetalkshow@ann7.com and tell us about any cool cars that you've got stored up in the garage. Coming up next, have you ever come to your vehicle from a shopping center, tried starting up the engine, and the engine doesn't want to start? That is when you need your jumper cables. Let's just hope that you are one of the clever ones that keeps a spare one in the vehicle, because up next we are going to show you how to use your jumper cables. So with me is Clinton, and he's a technician over here at the Santon Auto Workshop. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming, Suri.
So what Clinton is going to be showing us today is if you've got a flat battery and you need to jump start your car, exactly how you do it. So run us through the steps.
All right, there's a number of ways you can jump start the cars. I'm going to show you on the older version cars, jump from the battery to battery. Then we'll get to the newer cars. So on your older vehicles, your battery is either situated in the boot or in the engine bay. It'll be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the vehicle. And then you'll connect it the normal conventional ways, positive to positive, negative to negative.
Positive to positive,
negative to negative. Yeah, 100%. Then on the newer vehicles, the batteries are hidden away now. They're bolted into either the boot or hidden away under covers. Like on this vehicle, the battery sits in the back underneath the covers. So it has jumping points. You have your negative here. They're normally illuminated by a red cover. And then your negative will have a black cover over the top. And
so positive will be red, negative will be black.
Okay. So that's on the newer vehicles. Also on the BMWs, they're in the boots, normally on the right-hand side or underneath, next to your mobility kit or your tool kit.
So that would be
so it'll be in the
like
boot
this.
Like this, or on the right-hand side under the panels. All right?
So run us through the steps. First you need jumper cables.
Well, you'll need your jumper cables, so you try to buy a nice set from the spare shop. The thicker the jumper cables, the better. It'll start the car a lot easier. If you buy those cheap 50 Rand jumper cables, you're going to struggle to start your car. They don't carry enough ampage, so on a big vehicle you won't jump start.
But they could work.
They can work. Look, sometimes you get stuck in a situation where you have to buy the cheap ones. And the first thing you should do is start the vehicle that's the battery's fine. Leave it to idle. You're going to switch all the consumables on. And then you're going to connect the jumper cables.
Tell us a little bit, what consumables are you referring to?
So you need to switch on the headlights, switch on the heater, switch on the fan, full blast, everything. Try and switch on as much as possible. Always remember, if you've got a cell phone charging in the car, or any device like a GPS, try and unplug stuff like that. Sometimes when you disconnect the cables, you get a power surge, so it can damage your cell phone. That's why we switch the consumables on. It's so that it's drawing power through the system, so if there's a surge, it doesn't damage any control units. It doesn't happen on the older cars, but on the newer cars it does. All right?
So show me how you connect it up.
So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to start the vehicle, and then we'll connect the cables up. And then Siri, when you start the vehicle, a lot of cars come with auto lights. Just take it off of the auto and put it so the headlights are on, because normally it's daytime so the lights won't be on. Then you're going to switch your heater on hot. You can even put the aircon on if you want to. Turn it up full blast, put your brights on, put your fogs on, so everything's on. And then just make sure your handbrake is up. And then we will continue. Yeah, park or neutral. So you got your two ends to the jumper leads.
So you mentioned the black and the red being positive and negative, so it looks the same on your cables.
All the jumper leads and the terminals are color coded. You got your black and your red on both sides. So you're just going to make sure that the vehicle is close enough first before you jump start.
What happens if the stuff touches?
You're going to have big sparks.
Okay.
And it can damage the car because you're causing a short circuit. So the first thing you should always do,
keep them apart.
Keep them apart. Make sure when you're connecting that the positive and negative is separated. Try not to have the jumper leads on the floor because you might kick them and it might spark, or you always connect the positive first. So when the engine's running, put your positive on, make sure it's nice and firm, it's not going to fall off. Some cars' engines vibrate, so it might cause it to wiggle off. And you just put your negative in, you grab your positive, you make sure everything's clear. On a lot of vehicles, they'll have, it's called a battery safety terminal. It's for an accident. So it might be difficult to get into it. There'll be 2 or 3 clips that you can flip up. So on this one, you flip up that safety.
Let's say you're a woman and you're alone. How will you know which one to use?
On top of your battery, you'll have a positive sign there. And then also, like on this vehicle, it's red.
It's red.
So this side, you can see it's the positive because everything's red here. If you're looking for the negative, the color's either brown or it'll have a black cap like this vehicle over here.
But not red.
Not red.
Okay.
All right, and then you just got to try and, on the BMs it can be tricky, especially say for instance if you're parked in a parking and you cannot get to the jumping points. It can be difficult to jump from the batteries in the back because they've got a lot of control units on them. But you just got to find the spot where you can connect it decently, like that. And then after that, you'll put the negative onto the car that's idling. Make sure you don't touch this against the positive.
Oh, I do see there's a brown wire.
So there's the brown wire there. You'll connect it like this and this. You'll leave the car idling for 5 to 10 minutes.
Of course, started.
The reason why you need to leave it idling because the battery's flat. So this car is basically charging this battery. So you leave it for about 5 to 10 minutes. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to start the car immediately. If you start the car immediately, this battery is already flat. You're going to draw too much current, and you can actually end up damaging the other car's battery. So make sure you just leave it for 5 to 10 minutes, idle a bit, it'll charge, bring up the battery voltage. Once you've done that, then you can hop in, start the vehicle. Whatever you do, do not switch the vehicle off immediately. Try and take the car for a 15-20 minute drive just to get the battery charged up again. It's not guaranteed that the battery will hold.
Depending on how long or how drained the battery was.
So you'll probably need to replace the battery. So if you can, try and take it straight to a service center, then at least you know you won't get stuck again.
Okay, and once you've now got the car started, the wires are still there, now you need to remove them. Run us through that.
So basically, you disconnect it in a very similar way as you connect it. So you always put the positive on first, but you always take the negative off first. If you take the positive off first, it's going to cause a spark or a short. You'll actually see it, lots of little sparks going off, and that's called a power surge. And that's when you can damage control units. So you need to be careful of that. Also, when you're removing the jumper cables, you leave the consumables running, the engine idling. Because if you switch it off, this car is not charging its battery anymore, and this battery is dead, so it can pull the voltage down. So leave the engine running, then all you're going to do is you're just going to remove the negatives first, make sure they don't touch anything, place the negatives on a plastic surface or anywhere, even if it rests on the car's frame, that's an earth, so it's not going to spark. And then you remove the positive off the vehicle that the battery's fine, and then the positive off here.
Now they can touch again.
Now you can touch everything, it's not going to spark. Then just make sure the caps, you replace the caps on top. Same as this one. Just make sure, because especially the ones in the boot, lots of people, they put stuff in like hangers and all sorts of goodies, metals, and if you leave that cap open and something touches,
you've got a problem.
You're going to short the car out and it can cause a lot of damage. Okay. Same within your engine bay. Make sure you replace the caps on top of the jumping points just to protect the car. That's what they were there for.
So just tell me, if let's say you want to jumpstart your car but you do it the wrong way, what happens then?
I've actually experienced it before where a lady puts the positive, so your red, onto the car that she's jumping from. and the red onto the negative on the car, and she said it was like fireworks.
Like fireworks.
And it destroyed both the batteries on the car because it kills the cells. It's making a short circuit.
And also on the newer models, it can completely wipe out the computers.
Yeah, it
and
can
the car
damage a
would
lot on a
actually
vehicle.
not even
It
start.
can burn the wiring harnesses. It can cause you a lot of. It can cost a lot to fix the vehicle.
So would you rather, like let's say you're not confident enough to do something like this yourself, would you rather than phone Roadside Assistance?
Well, luckily with BMW we have Roadside Assist, so it makes it a lot easier, especially for people who are not 100% sure how to do it. And also, a lot of people are scared to connect cars up because they're worried that it's going to catch fire. And, the only sad thing about the new cars is because the batteries are hidden away. It's not like the olden days where you just open the bonnet, you loosen the 2 battery clamps, and you can put a new battery in. A lot of the new cars, the batteries are hidden away, so it's difficult, and they need certain tools to take them out. So it's not as easy. So it's nice that we've got Roadside Assist. So if you're not sure about it, I recommend rather calling them than trying to do it yourself, because it's as quick as touching this and this. You just have to touch it, and you can damage your car.
Well, there you have it, guys. Some easy steps on how to jumpstart your car. Thank you, Clinton.
Not a
We'll be
problem.
seeing you
Thank
again soon when he gives us some more tips on your motor. Until then, we'll see you around. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our show, but do tune in again next week when we'll start up our engines once again. Until then, buckle up and drive safe.